Chop it down, chop it down, chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Chop it down, you gon' chop it down.
I just appreciate everybody watching.
Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive, this is Trap or Dive.
What's going on, y'all? This is Henny Mual, Coach Mual, Hen Dog Mual, all that good stuff, man. Your host of the Trap or Dive podcast. And we got another film session on the way right now. Cole Turner, the rookie tight end out of Nevada. We're going to check in and see, what Cole Turner brings to the Washington Commanders offense. And if you all remember, for those who actually who follow me, and pay attention to my work or at least check in, I did a film session on hogshaven.com, the SB Nation site for the Commanders. And I did that probably a few weeks after they drafted him. So if you all want to get the written version of the breakdown, it's already available. If you want to use that along with, what we're doing with this film session right here, that kind of, works as your written and your visual. So that kind of goes hand in hand. But let's go ahead and get into Cole Turner, and break down the idea of what Cole Turner is to this offense. But first and foremost, listen, before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe. If you are new to the channel, make sure you get that out of the way. Help us out. We are growing over here, man. We're trying to, pave our own lane, try to find some things that's a lot of football related, like specifically football focused. Just straight Commanders talk, straight NFL talk, obviously on the all 32 side. So just help us out with a like, subscribe, and help, the code out who's having fun behind me in the background, right? But let's go ahead and get into Cole Turner right quick and start off with the depth chart and kind of see where he is projected given the current circumstances of that position. Okay, so if you're looking at the depth chart right now, you kind of see where everybody is lined up. And again, this is like a projection. ESPN is putting out a projected starting roster and an entire depth chart. But I think the important thing to notice here is Logan Thomas obviously is the number one. But Logan Thomas is coming off a significant knee injury. Significant in the sense that, he tore multiple ligaments. It wasn't just one ligament. And I think the comeback time, given the date of the injury, when it was sustained, I think that's the part that's kind of throwing people off. Logan is shooting back. He told us on Trap or Dive that he was shooting back for week 1. But in that same vein, when you're at the age you are, but also suffering an injury late in the season, which he did against Oakland or Las Vegas, you are now transitioning to how can we fill his pace or his place until he comes back and he's fully healthy, not returning, in his first game when he's 100%, when he's feeling 100%. Because I think there's a difference between returning from injury and being active versus feeling 100% yourself and being active. And with that being said, here comes Cole Turner. John Bates is obviously coming back as a second-year player and having an opportunity to fill that void continuously. Obviously, last year he did it towards the tail end of the year. So he'll have a role similar to what he did last year. But in that same vein, when you have John Bates out there, you kind of lose something in the passing game. You're losing in a vertical threat way. You're losing somebody who can really work the seams. You're losing somebody who can run routes from a receiver standpoint. You can split them out wide, and things like that. John Bates is a good inline tight end, but can you trust him on the boundary? Can you trust him split as a flex receiver or in a tight split? where he's like 3 to 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, opposite of a tackle. Can he do anything like that? And while some can make a case that he can at least be flexed out, then you possibly have an idea of what he can do in the pass game. But in that same vein, John isn't the one that you want to work downfield with. You need somebody with some versatility, somebody who can flex, play boundary, and work the seams and work the short and intermediate level of the field, and then obviously be a complete red zone threat. And that's where Cole Turner comes in. The important thing about this whole tight end group collectively, and obviously we're focusing on Cole Turner here, but from a macro standpoint, these guys are 6'5" and taller. It's a fucking basketball team. This is a basketball team at tight end. And I think with Cole, and obviously when Logan comes back, you'll see that. But Cole brings some of the skill sets that Logan has, but Cole is a more natural receiver. And obviously prior to his transition to tight end, that's what he played coming into his time with Nevada. So let's go ahead and start with the pass game. Let's talk about his strengths first. And then we'll talk about his weaknesses from a collective run game and pass game standpoint. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. And I think it's funny hearing about the catch radius thing. Like I see some people joking about it because the coaching staff says it too much. And I think it's funny because it's like they have new terms every single year for this coaching staff that that is emphasized in the media and then regurgitated, and we all hear it so much. And this year, catch radius has been the topic at hand. Year one, it was position flex or position versatility. And year two, Buffalo nickel, all of these things, right? And catch radius is big this year. And I think while, that actually is, it's funny and it's a fun trend, but Cole Turner presents that catch radius stuff, right? And I think that's kind of what they want to emphasize. And I think that's kind of what they want to open up for this offense is being able to provide these opportunities when those passes aren't accurate 100%, or even trying to create opportunity or create opportunity for the tight end or for the receiver to make a play. So while you're saving the quarterback at times, the quarterback may be giving you an opportunity as that receiver, as that tight end, to make a play for your team. So it can kind of go hand in hand and things like that. And the catch radius is important. And we're going to start off with one of those plays where you see that catch radius. At a 6'6", pushing 6'7", that's what you're going to get oftentimes, especially with a guy matched up. Now, he had a free release off the line of scrimmage in this situation, so you weren't really expecting much. But given that he has the awareness that he's free, he's just taking this a little bit vertically, and he has also I screwed up way too far. Carson Strong sees that he has some opportunity, so while he's doing this crosser, Carson Strong, I don't know why I struggled on his name, but Carson Strong took this pass upfield a little bit, so it forced him to adjust at the last second. But you kind of see that full extension at the top. He extends, but also leaves out one hand and is able to grab it in quite easily. But also, he finishes the play instead of going down where he was at the 5 or 3 yard line. He fully extends for that touchdown and gets that play made for Carson Wentz. Carson Strong. That's going to throw me off in this film session. I know it is. Carson Strong and the Nevada Wolfpack. So here, let's go ahead and run this one. And you kind of see when we talk about stretching somebody vertically, stretching defenses vertically is something that, again, is not a knock. Like, it's not a negative on John Bates. It's just something that you can get out of somebody else. And Logan Thomas actually did this too, right? But that's why Cole Turner is here as well. And think about that big slot option, like that term too. That's something that's been available for usage this offseason is big slot. But Cole Turner has that flex position right now, and off the line of scrimmage, he's able to immediately work down that seam and provide a big target. And when you're that tall and you have a linebacker checking you, you're going to get that opportunity 9 times out of 10. And he's able to high point it, and secure it in traffic. Like, look at, I don't, look, the linebacker tried to make a play, and that was commendable of him, right? But think about the functional strength and play strength that you have to bring this ball down with one person on you. And then at the very end, you're still not down yet at this point. Let me rewind it back right here. You're still not down yet right there. So you have not one person trying to knock the ball out. You have multiple at this point trying to knock the ball out. So Cole Turner, again, working the seams, having that catch radius that I'm speaking of, like you're visualizing it right now and understanding that, you know, this is what they want from your tight ends. This is what they want from their receivers. You're getting this from a Jahan Dotson, Cam Sims, and then Cole Turner, obviously. Those are your three main guys that you're thinking of in terms of catch radius. And then obviously, we know what Terry can do, but he's more of a adjustment guy. Like he's an elite adjustment type of receiver. So he's not necessarily making the catch radius significant for him, but he'll make sure that, you know, he can adjust to tons of pass trajectories and things like that. So again, let's go ahead and keep running this one. But you see that down the seam, you saw him wide open early on. Down here, being able to adjust to a little leading throw, but he's able to adjust to it. And then obviously working the seam right here, being able to attack this middle of the defense, splitting the safeties and working the linebacker who's riding him in what seems to be a two-man. And we'll go ahead and keep going. So here, you know what's coming. And again, when we talk about, and the reason why I'm mentioning John Bates is because we're projecting, right? Think about the depth chart. Think about Logan Thomas and his inability to be available possibly week one. And maybe and when we talk about just week one, it may be even further into the season. So we're talking about maybe even a month in this season. So again, when we're talking about John Bates and we're talking about Cole Turner, that's why I'm comparing these two. And you're not going to see John Bates split out wide like you see Cole Turner right here, who has that receiver background, who has that, first off, the defense, I think this is Fresno State. You put one of your smaller guys on Cole Turner, you know who's getting the ball. And that's part of the mismatch right here, too. Let me go ahead and run through it. That's part of the mismatch itself right here. It's understanding that Cole Turner, again, 6'6", 6'7". It's going to be hard for a lot of defenders to really check him. You have to get into his face. You have to slow him down at the line of scrimmage, because if you give him free releases, they're just going to jump ball it, or you have to double cover him in the red zone in situations like this. So, like, how do you allocate resources to stop Cole Turner in the red zone in a situation where, you know, you want him isolated, you want him to have this one-on-one opportunity because you trust him at the catch point? So, again, fade routes. You see him making that full extension again, far away from the DB. The DB's not going to be able to compete with this one. So it's either on Cole Turner or incompletion. And he catches it right there, reels it in, touchdown. Same situation. I said that was Fresno State. It wasn't. This is Fresno State, though. Let's go ahead and run this one. Same thing. Now they did allocate resources this time, right? But a good ball. Still away from both DBs, but this time Fresno State was more aware of the situation at the snap. You see the safety at the top of the screen, top right, immediately running over and preparing for any inside breaking routes. But he throws that fade, and what do you think Cole Turner does at that point? Shows some physicality at the top of the route. I didn't even speak on that. Now, what you want to see, though, because like what Cole Turner does and what will actually help in the NFL for defenders, Cole Turner doesn't necessarily give any moves on his face. Like, he just simply goes. Like, it's no, you don't see any footwork. You don't see any attempt to manipulate the DB's hips. So like the DB is in position, but you know, it's not much he can do when you're playing up against a 6'7" receiver. So again, something to pay attention to. While I talk about his fade routes, right? His feet work. You have to try to manipulate defenders on the next level. You have to try to get them out of position because these guys are pro athletes too. They have techniques to work against these 6'6", 6'7" guys. But you know, I don't want to make it seem like Cole Turner is just some unstoppable beast. I think there'll be ways and techniques to kind of work against a 6'6", 6'7" defender. And so with that being said, this is also a mental nugget for all of us that's listening, all of us that's watching, to be sure we see what Cole Turner is doing at the line of scrimmage to kind of manipulate those defenders and try to free himself and not just worry about, oh, I'm a big target. I don't give a fuck about none of these defensive backs. There's going to be some that wants that smoke with Cole Turner. So again, physicality at the catch point to see that small bit of separation at the end. You see it right here to separate at the last second, fully extend, get 1 foot in bounds. That's excellent competitive toughness too, physical toughness in one-on-one situations. You like to see it in the pass game. He has strong hands, man, and it's going to be hard. Like if he has the hands, if he is able to maintain or catch the ball, it's going to be hard for him to really lose possession at that point because he's really good at maintaining possession and stuff like that, especially on contact. So, all right, so we talked about the catch radius. We talked about his ability in the red zone to be a playmaker. And then when we talk about manipulating hips, we just spoke on that in the fade and the red zone situations. Because you just know you're getting the ball, so you just really trying to post up and things like that. But Cole Turner does have a very good. He has. I don't want to slice it. He has an above average understanding of manipulating defenders' hips, and tempoing his routes and things like that. And what you'll see right here is something of that nature. Again, he didn't get the ball on this one, but you see it. I don't even know how Carson Strong missed that. That's his guy. But you see it at the snap, selling that breaking in route, and then immediately breaking up field. Now, he didn't get the ball again in that situation, but you see he has done that on several occasions in the red zone, not on fade routes, right? Not on fade routes. So he's not asking to be ran those simple things, get up on the sideline type of thing. But when you're asking him to go over the middle in instances on those type of double move routes, selling that breaking in route and hitting up the seam, he's been able to do that. So he has a good understanding of how to manipulate defenders and use tempo to kind of gain a leverage advantage and things like that. But let's go ahead and continue. That is one example of that. But you've seen that pop up a few times in this film. And let's go ahead and break this down again. This is against press coverage. He has a very good initial move with an inside speed release, essentially, or a single move inside release. Keep saying it's a speed release, but single move inside release. Being able to work that defender, get inside it, and then get right back outside with good change of direction, being able to maintain that speed as he breaks towards the out route. And you see it at the tail end, how he's able to separate. It goes from close coverage to then getting a yard? A yard of separation. Maintaining the ball on contact. And that's another good thing that you're seeing with Cole Turner in the pass game is he knows how to work some coverages. He knows how to work some techniques against them. And it's not new to him or unfamiliar territory, given that he's a tight end. They're using him in receiver situations because they trust him out there, flexed out wide in situations like that. So you'll see Cole Turner have these opportunities plenty with the Commanders, being able to play out wide as a receiver, as a boundary receiver, and as that slot man. Like, he has that opportunity, he has that ability for any offense, really, but specifically a vertical offense in Scott Turner and what he wants to get accomplished. And I think this is the last one. And you saw that at the top. Let's go ahead and run it back one more time. So, again, this is against press coverage. And the thing about Cole Turner is when we talk about bigger DBs gonna have to play against Cole Turner. And I'm sure teams will scheme against that. But how does Cole Turner play against press coverage? Now, obviously, Hawaii isn't necessarily the most daunting defensive team, and clearly they're undersized in a sense. But when you have press coverage, you just want to see at least does he have the ability in terms of his hand usage to clear a jam, to clear a press attempt against a defender, and he has a starting point. You want to see it against competition, like when the pads come on in training camp. You want to see how he fares against press coverage. And then obviously in games, meaning preseason, is going to be your first glimpse with real action, especially with Cole Turner, a guy like that. He's going to get plenty of time in the preseason. So again, let's go ahead and run this back. And then what you see is him selling that vertical with the double move, send him outside. And once that defender sends that arm out there to try and jam him, look at his hand placement. Cole Turner's hand placement is right under the elbow. It's right under that elbow, pushes it upfield, and he has the play strength to really send them out completely out of position. So if it was a slant, let me be more specific. And Carson Strong saw the slant with everybody crashing. Look, everybody's crashing at this point. So if it was a backside slant, that could have been a touchdown. But I ain't gonna lie to you, when we get into the negatives, you'll see that Cole Turner isn't that fast. So maybe you would have got a big play out of it. But you see what's going on the backside is Cole Turner being able to get off of that jam. And he's shown that on a few occasions, with the Nevada Wolfpack. So let's go ahead and run that and clean it. So that's where we are with the strengths. And to wrap it up from a conclusion standpoint, Cole Turner has he has the catch radius. He has the playmaking ability in the red zone. He knows how to work the seams, and he has that competitive toughness, the fearlessness to work that middle. And that's kind of what you want from a tight end, from a big body guy, somebody who's going to be able to compete over the middle and make those type of plays for your offense. And then you have a guy who has an understanding of leverage, in a sense, and knowing how to work that leverage against a defender. So you see that. You want to see how he does it against professional zones, professional man coverage techniques, and even coverage techniques altogether, because he's going to be he's going to be flexed out wide. He's not that inline guy. They'll probably have him like as a H, moving behind the tight end, moving behind the offensive line in that way. But I don't see him as an inline guy for this offense. But again, I see the catch radius. I see his ability to make plays downfield. I see his ability to run routes with good change of direction, solid foot speed. I think that's average. I don't think it's anything above average or anything. So that's that. Let's go ahead and get into his negatives and things that he should be working on. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the first play, I'll let it run so you all can see it and then talk about it. So what you saw, man coverage, and you'll see this like the cover ones, maybe even cover two man if teams run that. But a lot of cover one man, you'll see these opportunities, especially if he's flexed out wide, is that foot speed. When you're not able to separate, like again, he's going to have these issues where he's not going to really be uncovered often, especially in man coverage. He'll have to win with physicality to get open. I mean, I think that he can do that to a degree, but tight man coverage or somebody with good foot speed or better, they're going to be able to stick with them in most occasions. It's all about what they can do at the catch point when the ball is in the air. So I don't really see the foot speed with Cole Turner. You're not going to see him breaking away in a sense. And to be clear with people, because I know I saw some people talking to me. This was some time ago, I think, rookie mini camp. You saw Cole Turner looking pretty quick, and I agree that he looked quick. But there's also one thing to notice. You're looking quick when you're in shorts and a jersey and a helmet, right? Once the pads come on and you have another guy in front of you with pads and both of you all are moving, and one is slower than the other, right? I know I broke it down in an elementary sense, but you kind of get what I'm saying is that yes, some people are going to look good, tremendously good without pads on in terms of their speed, but when the weights come on and when the pads come on and it starts weighing you down, I think you have to understand what the speed is, or the functional speed is, once you actually put those pads on and have to run routes against coverages and defenses, when it's not just one-on-one, or not just the offense running that route. Same thing. But again, we talked about the catch radius, right? You're not seeing him separate with like pure foot speed. And even at the line of scrimmage, he's slowed up a little bit, but he's able to break through and still continue to press vertically and fight through that pressure. Gets upfield, makes a play for your team. But again, we talking about the separation part. This is one element of being a receiver. This isn't like a complete package. This is what you're seeing in terms of his inability to separate. Like, the foot speed isn't there. And to be honest with you, I say it's average, but it may be a notch below average, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of where I leaned when I was watching it at the time. Like a step below average, but we'll see when we get more film. Let's go ahead and run this back so y'all can see him. He's right here aligned, like I said, H back, where I think he'll probably play the most in terms of as close to inline as possible. He'll probably play that H back position. So you see him 19 lined up off of 75, the left tackle. And what you saw right there was the lack of competitiveness in the run game, but also poor hat placement. And that'll get you in trouble. Poor hat placement. You're not in position really to stop them. And if 30, who is that? 35? And in another instance where you see him as an H-back, right off the left tackle spot, you see Cole Turner, and let's go ahead and run this one. Something similar. You see how high he is coming in. Pad level's too high. Not really taking on that contact, Will. Is able to get driven back. Doesn't really have a base. Doesn't really show the effort in a sense. Or willingness, willingness to block. So it's easy. He gets driven back with complete ease. Now this one is in line that I'm showing right here. You have 19 right tackle, right off the right tackle, and he's going up against an edge rusher or defensive end. And let's go ahead and run this back one more time. And part of being in line is being able to understand how to block, also being able to understand techniques and how to defend against techniques, and all type of defensive rush techniques and things like that. So when it comes to Cole Turner, again, you see that long arm from the Fresno State's defensive lineman. Long arm is high, but Cole Turner is really just standing in a position to try to seal off. But in that same sense, when you see something like this, the tight end really doesn't have any control. This is all control from 99, who has control of the edge, who has control of his opponent, if this was play side, but this is not play side. All right, so that was a quick breakdown of Cole Turner. Again, if you want to watch read the written version of the breakdown, it is on Hogs Haven. Just Google Cole Turner Hogs Haven film session. It'll pop up. And you have a more in-depth, detailed breakdown of his strengths and weaknesses heading into the NFL. But overall, my consensus of Cole Turner is he has the potential to be a really good player, like a really good all-around player, if he was able to add on to his frame, become a stronger individual in both the run game and pass game. If you can ask him to be an inline tight end, if he can make his way to be that, obviously building up his frame in the process, I think that he can be one of the best dual threat tight ends possible. And you don't really come by that type of player often. Like, he is a really good asset in the pass game. Despite his lack of speed, he still has an ability that is top notch. And being able to catch like that at the catch point, having his hands and concentration be as good as it is at the catch point, is something that you can't really get everywhere. You can get it in some places, but you can't get everywhere. So getting Cole Turner on this offense is a really good get because he's automatically going to be able to contribute to the pass game. Now, over time, again, what makes him, or what can make him, a great player is in being able to develop in the run game. And with him, I'm optimistic. I think that he can do that. I think that he can show that ability to build on this frame. Now, I know it's hard to really project in these sense because you don't know these players, you don't know these people and their work ethic, but I just think that it's there, and I think that he may even recognize that it's there if he wants to take this serious. So that's why I say, of all the people, Cole Turner can get it done. He can be one of the more he has big potential. Put it that way. He has big potential for the reasons that I've outlined. He just has to get better as a blocker. He has to work on his technique, and he has to get stronger. And it's as simple as that. So with that being said, that wraps up this episode of Trap or Die Film Session. If you liked it, again, remember, make sure you like, subscribe. Even give us your thoughts on the player. Give us some comments. Let us know what you're thinking about this player. And yeah, let me know what you're thinking. With that being said, we out here. Y'all enjoy y'all day. Enjoy y'all night whenever y'all watching.
Down, set, hut, watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole, or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long, or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.